The public debate over the rights of transgender women versus the rights of biological females to have female-only private spaces has been getting a lot of attention, and today's guest is from the Lethbridge area. She's a mother of 4, including a daughter who is a university athlete. Georgina Hill has launched a petition which is to be presented to the Alberta government, asking for the provision of biological female-only change rooms in showering facilities. And welcome to Bridge City News here, Georgina. Good to have you with us.
Thank you, Jeanette. I appreciate you having me.
This is a very sensitive topic, one that I like to shy away from. I mean, you were a little nervous coming on about this as well. It gets people all fired up. I guess full disclosure, we're both moms. You're a mom of 3 daughters, actually, and 1 son. Mm-hmm. My child is actually transgender, so I come at this for a little bit from the other side, but I see both sides, and I think you do too, Georgina, because we talked quite a little bit off camera about this. So first of all, let's have a really measured discussion and come at this from both sides. So firstly, why are you doing this? What sparked you to start this petition?
What sparked this really was a friend called me and shared with me her experience that she had had in the change room. And that just got me questioning, wow, I didn't realize this was happening. And so then I just started to investigate what policies are out there in regards to change room uses. What is the signage in front of change rooms? So how do patrons know what this change room space is being used for? I also looked into privacy provisions that are available for patrons with all different kinds of needs. So I started there, and then I was really surprised with what I saw, and then I just started writing emails. I wrote emails to facilities, looked at aquatic supervisors, managers of facilities. I went to the municipal level and also to the provincial level and wrote emails to various ministers just asking about this issue. And I was just really surprised by what I heard in terms of the Alberta Human Rights Act is what can allow these situations to happen, and that it's fully protected. And so
What's protected exactly?
What's protected?
Yeah.
That anyone can use a female change room.
Okay.
If you identify as female.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. And so when you wrote to these facilities, what were you saying? What were you asking them?
I was asking, first of all, I was just sharing with them my experiences from people that had started talking to me, and I started asking people about how they felt about transgender people, biological males in a female change room, because that's some of the feedback that I was getting. And so I was, people were giving me the feedback that they didn't know that the term woman doesn't mean just biological female. So I was asking these facilities, why can't we change the signage so that patrons going in can understand who's using the space? So I was asking about signage. I was also asking about policies, because I just felt that women and girls needed to be informed. So about having policies posted in the doorways so that you could understand, if I'm going in this space, I need to be accepting of who's going to be in this space. And you were saying
beforehand, like a public space where maybe there's a little girl and a transgender woman who's a grown up.
Yeah.
And maybe perhaps shower spaces that have no doors on them, which is what you've seen.
Yeah,
right?
So I found that facilities are outdated. Okay. There are some facilities that offer no privacy, so just an open shower area with shower heads just around, and no cubicles to change in. And so without knowing it, because these are change rooms that girls have been using for a long time, especially because I come from a competitive swimming family, we're in and out of change rooms 11 times a week.
That's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
And so girls are just having these encounters that they weren't expecting because of the signage hasn't changed and there's no policy posted at the doorways.
Right, shocking, right?
Yeah, for sure. Surprising And when you're not expecting that, yeah, it can be a little upsetting and disturbing. And girls are vulnerable in that state when they're constantly undressing and changing and in bathing suits and showering.
Yeah, especially at such a young age when their bodies are changing and whatnot.
Yeah.
So what does your petition actually say?
So my petition is specific to protecting biological female spaces. So it says, to the Legislative Assembly of Alberta and legislature assembled, we, the undersigned residents of Alberta, petition the Legislative Assembly to acknowledge the erosion of dignity and privacy of biological females and cisgender women of all ages in public use change rooms and showering facilities in Alberta, and urge the government to introduce legislation that, if enacted, will require all public and university sporting complexes and aquatic centers in Alberta to provide a biological female and cisgender women-only change room and showering facility to protect and respect the dignity, privacy, and comfort of all females of all ages. And I do want to premise that this is what I'm advocating for, but this is not to remove or exclude any rights or provisions for transgender women. And that's where there can be some divisiveness and uncomfortable situations.
Yeah, because I was going to say, what's the end game here? Because when it comes to government, a government should hopefully do what's right for everybody, and we were kind of talking about that a little bit off camera, like what is the solution as to so that we're not pointing fingers at a certain group of people, we're not segregating against them.
Absolutely.
Being a trans youth, I could imagine would be very challenging in itself, never mind now feeling like you can't use the restroom. So what is the solution? Is it to have every building, every business, every school have a third restroom, a third change room, like an all gender?
I believe that transgender people need privacy, need dignity, and should feel included. But I also feel that biological females, if they are uncomfortable being in the presence of a transgender person, because there's a spectrum of transitioning.
That's right.
And no limit to where that they need to be in that transitioning process, that females also deserve the right for privacy and dignity and safety. So for me, the end game would be signage that is appropriate for the users of the space. And transgender women want to be included. And there's a lot of women out there too that are accepting and comfortable being in those spaces. So I think an all gender women space could have the female sign and the transgender sign, or the transgender flag and a female sign, as well as a female space, so that all women have a choice of which space they can use.
Right.
Because currently all gender and universal change rooms aren't adequate, and they have not satisfied this issue.
Right.
Because there's a lot of misconceptions.
Yeah.
Most people believe that the sign woman means biological female, identifies female only, and that transgender people are using the all gender universal change rooms. But because they identify as women, they feel the right to use the women change rooms. And for example, at a swim meet, we could have 160 girls, 18 and under, using one change room, or the main change room. And if they're uncomfortable, because all the facilities have said, we have provided adequate facilities for the comfort of all people. Well, there's four individual cubicles in the gender universal change room. That is not adequate to say house 160 girls if they don't feel comfortable, if there's the presence of a biological male who identifies as a woman in the women's change room. So there isn't the equity there in terms of spaces. Plus, if women that are uncomfortable being in the change room with a transgender person, then they can't gather with their teammates or their friends, or also are excluded from that space. So I just think they both need a gathering space that's comfortable and safe and accommodating.
Yeah, it's awkward for sure. I know my gym has individual little cubicles, sort of like a little change rooms that you can go in and you lock the door. But there's only like maybe 4 or 5 of them. And it doesn't seem to be an issue there. But when you're talking a swim meet with 160 girls, that's where things get a little bit more challenging. I know that the national parks right now are kind of moving towards those more all-gender restrooms with the little door that closes and locks, and then everyone just kind of washes their hands in the same space. I don't know if that's the answer, and it's like, how much money do businesses and schools and the government have to pour into building new facilities? I don't know what the answer is there.
I think it's complicated, but I think we need a solution, and I think the change is possible. And I think sometimes they can be simple.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it'd be great to live in a world where everyone, you know, is satisfied and feels, you know, complete and feels, I guess, honored in that way. So if, just hear me out here, if a trans woman were to have all female parts, say like post-op, is that different? And my first thought too was like, is this going to turn into the North Carolina bathroom bill, where it's like nobody, like no male with biological parts is allowed in? So then how do you monitor that? Is there a bathroom police, like a security pat down, like when you go at the airport, only even more intrusive?
I think that's where people can go with their thoughts, but
Yes.
I don't think it has to be like that. I honestly think if the sign says all gender women, that anybody can go in there, but there still needs to be the biological female provision as well. I don't believe transgender people should be pushed or, you know, into transitioning or surgeries.
Right. Absolutely.
To be able to access what they believe to be a safe space. That's why I just think if it's open to women and transgender women with appropriate signage, but still have a female space, I just think that's the way to go.
Yeah.
Because we will always have male and female. There will always be differences. So we need to find this common ground. And I'm not sure that the all gender for everybody, you know, it doesn't fit all situations.
Right.
It sure won't fit for a swim meet.
Yeah.
You know, and so my focus too is on females and females in sports and female athletes that also need to have their space to change and shower.
Right. Yes. Yeah. And I can appreciate, you know, you're the mom of 3 daughters, so you're coming at that from that mom's heart, right? I mean, we were all little girls in change rooms. It's just such a different world right now. I completely see that side of it. I also see another side of it because I've also been exposed to this other side. And thankfully, my kid came out after the age of majority, so I didn't have to deal with puberty blockers, for example, or what the schools are doing or teaching. All of that was sort of behind me, but I'm still left with this mom's heart of, like, don't come at my kid.
Yeah.
And you seem like a lovely person, and I can see your heart, Georgina, and I think that you are trying to see it from all sides as well. So I appreciate that.
Oh, well, I appreciate your candidacy too. And I think everybody needs to know both sides of the issues. And in terms of your question about if somebody was fully transitioned, I do think that feels different being in a space than somebody who has not gone through any transitioning and in a change room. There is no secrecy anymore about gender identity.
Yeah.
And when it's fully male, when you can see fully male, it just becomes uncomfortable for minor females.
Yeah, exactly. So as far as your petition goes, how many, what are you looking for signatures?
So I am looking for awareness to the people of Alberta. So I'm looking, there's no minimum number of signatures required to petition the Legislative Assembly. But obviously the more I get, the more impact my petition will have. So I would love to have a minimum of 1,000 signatures. That would be fantastic. The more, the better.
Yeah. And how do people go about signing it? Do they have to contact you?
Yeah, it's really just through word of mouth. I don't have a website.
Okay.
So I do have a Gmail account. So if there's people that want to speak up for female rights, also appreciating that this is a sensitive issue.
Yeah.
And that's why I want this petition to be personal, because I feel like there's
Yeah.
a story
Yeah.
behind the petition.
Yeah.
It's not just us versus them.
Yeah.
It's a joint effort.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
they can contact me and I can give them the petition if they want to go around and circulate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Circulate it and get signatures.
And like you were saying,
that
you're
way.
not against trans rights. We're just looking for a solution
No.
to make everybody happy and feel comfortable
Absolutely.
in that space. It's so sensitive.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because it's not working the way it is right now for everybody.
Yeah.
And so I do think we need to find that solution.
Yeah. Sorry, did you give your email already?
It's Alberta Female Rights
Okay.
at
At
gmail.com.
gmail.com. Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Georgina, thanks so much for sharing with us today. Appreciate you dropping by to have this very sensitive conversation.
Yeah. Thank you for listening and for being understanding. I
Yeah,
appreciate
mom
this
to
time.
mom, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, that is Georgina Hill, who is spearheading an Alberta petition to protect the rights for women to have female-only private spaces.